So maybe last thing, I wanted you to give me your famous discourse on why our students should be studying history. I don't know if you want to kind of give me the rundown.
Well, I think to put it most simply, that studies in the humanities and history is right at the center of this, of course. Study in the humanities offers a far richer development of mind than I think most people realize.
Mm.
That, of course, there's a lot of transference of disciplinary knowledge. And there has to be if you take a course in history in whatever subject. And if by the end of the course you don't know a lot about that subject, the teacher has really failed you. I mean, at the very least, we have to accomplish that primary aim.
Right.
Okay. But there's all kinds of other learning that takes place, all kinds of other intellectual formation and even ethical formation that takes place in and through the exercises that pertain to historical inquiry and the academic production characteristic of historical studies. And that kind of development, I think, falls into two categories. One of these is cognitive refinement. And what I'm talking about primarily here is the development of our intellectual faculties, our core intellectual faculties, the excellences of mind that characterize a thriving adult intellectual personality. And that goes beyond, and I think it's deeper than, disciplinary knowledge. We're talking about articulation and rhetorical precision and sophistication, higher order reading comprehension, the skills of logical inference, the coherence of argumentative display, right? These are the kinds of attributes characteristic of all well-educated individuals. And we practice these excellences of mind, if you will, all the time in everything that we do as historians, as well as history students. And that kind of refinement is absolutely essential. And it's absolutely essential for university-educated individuals because they're not going to remember the details of the Napoleonic Wars.
Of course, yeah.
They're not. How much do I remember from the courses that I took as an undergraduate? I mean, I'm a historian, so there's more in there perhaps than it would be in the brain of someone else.
Sure.
But by and large, these ideas, they show up and they play their part in our intellectual development, and then they recede. This is characteristic of learning across the board. But what does remain, I would contend, is this kind of lasting improvement of the intellectual self at our basic cognitive levels, and that this is this should be a kind of education that undergraduates should want.
To hear the rest of this interview and other great conversations about history or drugs or both, check out the History on Drugs podcast wherever you get your podcasts.